Hollow Knight. If you clicked on this video, you probably already know what it is. But for those who don't know, or are uncultured enough to keep autoplay on, Hollow Knight is a 2D indie Metroidvania made by Team Cherry, an indie game developer from Adelaide, South Australia. It's an amazing game and one of my personal favorites. But I'm not here to talk about the game itself, and neither are you. I'm here to talk about the soundtrack. Hollow Knight was composed by Australian composer Christopher Larkin, made using Cubase and a variety of VSTs. He was hired in 2015 to work on Hollow Knight, and in my opinion, he delivered. Let's dive into his work and explore the music of Hollow Knight. Now, I'll get the obvious part out of the way and beat the long-dead horse cadaver that is YouTubers talking about motifs. There are two main motifs in the game, the Hollow Knight motif and the Pale motif. Let's examine the Hollow Knight motif first. This motif is the most widely used throughout the soundtrack, especially during key moments in the game. It's a way to say, "Yo, this do be important, doe," or to tie the world back to the Hollow Knight's main purpose. Consider the piece Enter Hollow Nest, which comes with the purchased soundtrack. Do you hear it? Although it was only ever used in promotional material, it subconsciously reinforces how crucial the Hollow Knight's task is in saving the kingdom. Of course, there are much more direct examples, like the Broken Vessels theme. The Broken Vessel actually shares similar rhythmic elements with the Hollow Knight's boss theme, further connecting these two as siblings. In fact, the Hollow Knight theme could technically be considered the Vessel theme, as a counterpart to what plays when you near your shade. Other tracks, such as Fungal Wastes, aren't directly connected to the Hollow Knight. The Fungal Wastes doesn't really have anything specific that would warrant this theme. But it is connected on a bigger scale. The fate of this world is dependent on what happens in the Temple of the Black Egg, and that includes the Fungal Wastes. Now, we move to the Pale motif. It's found in tracks such as The White Lady and The White Palace, which should be of little surprise to you if you've beaten the game. However, some of you may not have drawn the connection between these two themes and Hornet's theme. Have a listen. It's subtle, but it's there. This symbolizes Hornet's connection to the Pale King, half-daughter of the royal family and princess protector of Hollow Nest. Speaking of Hornet, I'd like to take a moment to talk about Hollow Knight's sister sequel, Silksong. Parts of the Silksong trailer music, as confirmed by Team Cherry, is related to Hornet, the protagonist of the game. I'm wondering if it'll be connected to the main antagonist or not. I tend to think it will, knowing Larkin's use of motifs. In addition to clever motifs scattered throughout Hollow Knight, it also succeeds in its mysterious atmosphere. Some of the first area themes you hear are Dirtmouth, the Forgotten Crossroads, and Green Path, in that order. In addition to the three being in the same key, they also share the same basic chord types. Starting from the root note, you jump to a fifth, and then up to another fifth. The end result is a hypnotic, ethereal chord, enhancing the sense of mystery within the game, almost like it's daring you to explore. This fifth stacking is a very effective technique used by composers to evoke a sense of mystery. The reason for this is that the key of the track is not given away. When you first hear it, it could be either major or minor, or something more exotic. You don't know. But I could throw in another key and completely change the feeling. I haven't come across an official name for it as far as I know, so for efficiency's sake, I've decided to dub it
the Hollow Triad.
All three previously mentioned areas use the Hollow Triad in a different way, such as being arpeggiated in Green Path, or Dirtmouth mixing in an E minor chord with the original bass triad, giving off a sense of solemnity and loneliness. These chords all but disappear when you reach the Queen's Station, and you realize the absolutely massive scale of the world. Less of the game is closed off to the player now, and, in a sense, less of the mystery as well, and it slips away, along with the Hollow Triad. It makes sense, too. It's the station of the fungal wastes, an area that gives you both a crucial movement upgrade and a gateway to arguably one of the most important areas of the game, the City of Tears. The City of Tears succeeds in its own atmosphere, with the gentle yet hastily moving piano in the background, almost emulating the sound of rain. It also provides an example of a brilliant change in atmosphere. The Soul Sanctum, a more difficult upper area of the city, is a very similar melody, but differently. Unlike the gentle, chilling aura of the track it derives itself from, this version is twisted and almost suffocating. Speaking of suffocating, don't you feel like you need a better COVID mask? Well, let me introduce today's sponsor, Nord, Honey Legend. Before we end this musical tour, I present one of my personal favorite selections from the OST. I am, of course, talking about Nos, the Crystal Peak. The crystals, in the lore, seem to be singing. and the soundtrack reflects this, with glass-like drones and harp harmonics seemingly bouncing off the cavern walls. It eventually evolves into a bombastic and lively track, almost reminiscent of the Miners and their songs. It's quite the jam, too. Thank you for joining me on this internet excursion through Hollow Knight's music. Hopefully this can be the first of many videos to come relating to both music and gaming. Sometimes it'll be both at the same time. This is Dr. Sniggles, signing out. Have a good one, all. Also, can we take a moment to appreciate TC and Larkin? Pale Court is like really good, and it's just like an extra exclusive thing on the purchase soundtrack. It's awesome. Speaking of Pale Court, yours truly has joined the process of developing the soundtrack for the mod of the same name. So yeah, your boy's moving up in the world.